guys, this is Orsi, and this is going to be, this happened in the past few months actually, and there's gonna be a lot of distraction, and it's a reminder why I'm not shooting any videos outside, because either someone is cutting up wood with a chainsaw, or or swimming pool, a tiny one, like not a permanent one, but an unpermanent, what's the temporary, that's the other word, but it has a cleaning system, and it's on, and the cat is circling me, birds are out, which is not a problem, but cars are out and people are walking by and everyone is just noisy. So yeah, it's gonna be one of those, but it's so much nicer to be outside. And I actually wanted to film this one at the other side of the house, in the other part of the garden, but the chainsaw is so much louder over there, and obviously started it like, I don't know, 5 minutes ago. As soon as I was like, I'm ready, I can just go outside and film this video, which is not, it's gonna be long, because I made points, I have a list to keep track of things. But yeah, a lot has happened. It's almost, I think it's been almost 6 months. I can't remember when was the last time, and I should have checked, that I filmed one of these. Maybe around my birthday, so maybe there's gonna be a repetition from that video, but I can't remember, so why not. So pretty much the busiest part of it was university. I mean, of course I knew that the first semester, the last one, the autumn semester, is always the introductory thing, so it's hard because you have to learn a lot of shit you don't necessarily want to or will use later on, but it goes, I guess, time-wise normally. This semester, as soon as we started it, we were just like crammed with stuff to do and assignments pretty much, and the spring semesters are always shorter than the autumn semesters. So in May I already had like 4 assignments that were due. So fortunately I only had 2 exams, but those were not easy as well, because one was that was interesting. We got the material that we had to study or use as a starting point, to be honest, for the exam. I mean, in my and one of my other team classmates, 2 days before we had our exams, because the professor forgot to send them out, which created a very interesting situation for an exam, but still it happened, and I got a good grade, so I'm not complaining. I guess how it happened helped me get a good grade, so I'm not complaining. But the second one and the last one, I was supposed to just go in. It was a written exam, just do the exam, go home and be relatively sure about my grade. But that professor is one of those who doesn't know how to teach, and it's I'm not naming the name, so I don't think that they're gonna come across of this video, but never know. My cat is weird, acting weird. If I'm looking down and very weird, making weird faces, it's because my cat is just acting weird. So after the exam, we pretty much, and the whole class, I mean, not just me, everybody almost came out. I think one person who had a chance to use her phone as an inspiration, because she was sitting in a good place, was sure that she's gonna pass. But there were three questions, and one of them wasn't even on my radar as a possibility for this exam, because we went through the material, I mean part of it, and the teacher highlighted some questions that they were supposed to ask, and we were like, okay, cool, we're gonna, you know, learn those and then we're gonna be fine. And then there was one that was just mentioned in somewhere in the text. We didn't even mention it during any class. So that was like, okay, out of 3 questions, I already know I can answer 1. And I wasn't sitting in a way that I could use inspiration, if you know what I mean. So out of the 3 questions, I could only answer 1. And I wrote something for the other one, but I knew that wasn't enough. So I was like, and I wasn't even entirely sure that I managed to understand the question and reply the good things. But yeah, so I came out and I was like, I'm not even sure if I passed this exam or if I have to retake it. And the grade was not coming in any time soon. So I think we spent collectively 2 weeks just agonizing over if we passed the exam or not, and then we fortunately managed to. I don't know why or how, but I don't question it, but we all passed it and it was done, which prompted me to buy myself finally the Space Tarot, which I will talk about at the deck section. But you know, I rewarded myself for a second semester done. But yeah, the next year is gonna be even busier and harder because it's only 2 years, so it's gonna be the last year. And I haven't managed to reach out to the circus yet. I'm gonna send them an email this week because I want to write my thesis on the library in the circus, which I didn't even know it was a thing, that there's a library for a circus. And it turns out that, you know, big circuses have libraries for artists, and not just, you know, like something that they can read, obviously, but it's about the history and everything. It makes sense, but I don't know, I wasn't thinking that, you know, it would be something that an actual circus would keep. I was thinking that maybe the National Library would keep a collection related to circusry. That's not a word, I know. But yeah, I wanted to reach out, like, I don't even know, to like 1 or 2, like a month and a half ago, but I couldn't. So I mean, I reached out originally and we were like, okay, let's set up a meeting, and then I disappeared for 2 months. So it's gonna be fun to explaining that. It was because first I was traveling, and that's my second point on my list, is that, you know, it's a hermit year and I was completely ready to just being shut down and staying inside, and I was looking forward to it afterwards. And I'm not really doing that, and I kind of I'm feeling divided about I want to go out a lot more, but at the same time I wish I had time to just sit down with myself and just integrate everything that I'm experiencing, because I kind of feel like I'm just collecting experiences right now and I don't have time to process them. But at the same time, you know, if I shut down now, I'm missing out on experiences that I can just integrate. So, you know, it's a conflict. It's a very two-swordsy situation, like what to do, stay on, because I feel like, not in a formal way, but in a way that these are one-time things that I have a chance to experience. So if I don't do them, what I'm gonna learn from, you know. But yeah, I traveled to 3 countries this year so far, and if everything goes fine, there's gonna be a 4th one. I don't plan on going anywhere other than that because it is costly to travel and I don't really have a lot of money now. So you know, even within Europe, prices are high. So, and we were never rich as a family, so, you know, just traveling, it wasn't all just a thing we did a lot when we were growing up. My father is coming. When we were growing up, I have a lot of siblings, so multiply everything by 5, or we were 7, like people, family. It's not something that you can just do if you're not rich. And back then when I was growing up, it wasn't because, socialism and everything, it wasn't like a thing to travel abroad. But I've been, and maybe I talked about the UK trip already, like I said, for my birthday, and that was a gift, so at least I didn't pay for it. But that was lovely, to do something for my birthday. And my original plan was to actually, to be honest, I think I was just like thinking about going to the movies and just spending the time somewhere, not very far from home, but not in my room. I kind of like to just be alone on my birthday in a way, or away from my usual circumstances. I don't know why. Maybe other people do this and they can understand. Not like everything like there's any problem with spending it with your family and everything, but I kind of feel like it's my day, which is a very egotistical and narcissistic way of looking at it, because I was not doing the job, my mom was doing the job when I was born. But still, it's my day. I want to do it. I want to spend it in a way that I want to. And as I get older, it's usually more so I want to spend it with my thoughts, in my head, but in a good way, not in a bad way. So, and yeah, I didn't spend it alone, obviously. I spent it with a friend, but it was not here. So that was really nice. And I'm thinking about if I can, because it's gonna be exams and everything next year, but if I manage to finish with my exams early on, which I'm hoping, because that's how I usually do things, I'm thinking about just maybe travel somewhere within Hungary for next year. Maybe do a wellness trip or whatever. I've never done that, so who knows. I'm gonna be 44, which is it's a better number than 43 actually. I don't like 43. 43 sounds like meh. 44, maybe 47 is gonna be fun. But anyway, that's next year. And then I went to Germany to visit another friend. We haven't managed to meet for long years now. In March, which was also very lovely, because spending time with her was, I kind of felt like we're reconnecting in a way, and it was a good experience because she's in a very healthy, from the outside obviously, looking relationship, and that was a good thing to see that everything that I struggle with relationship wise, and I just briefly I kind of like abandoned finding one, because I don't have the time, and it's not just that. Mi van zita. Forget. But I experienced something in the third trip in April in Greece, which was also lovely, because I got to see Mount Olympus, which was a profound experience. Because I don't know if you most of you study ancient Greece. I'm assuming it's in the school curriculum in elementary or somewhere, but maybe not. We learn different things, so I'm not assuming anything. But we used to learn a lot about ancient Greek and Greece, and the gods and everything. And I always liked the idea of them, as in from thousands of years of distance and everything. I don't necessarily want to believe in them because they are very human-like, and that's not a good thing for God. But when we were learning about it, it was like when I was, 10 to 13 years, something like that, like a teenager. It made more sense to me that God would be like human-like. Now it doesn't. Spiritual involvement and everything. And going there and looking at the mountain and just looking at how magnificent it is, I was just like, obviously people thought that gods lived there, especially because I was lucky and I saw the mountain in a way when the clouds were cutting it half, so it really did look like it was floating in the air, which was, like I said, a bucket list item that I never knew I had. So I feel actually extremely lucky that I was invited to go there. It didn't cost me a lot of money, so I could say yes, because I was there for a week. But the thing is that circling back to the relationship things, I always knew that I needed someone who would understand my condition. Because yes, I'm not currently sick like I was when I was going through everything, but I have leftover things. And the friend, I don't even know if I can call him friend, to be honest. We met through Tinder and then we went on a few dates, but nothing romantic happened. And then he disappeared because he, dropped his phone in some lake or whatever and lost everything on it, and he didn't have any way to contact me. And then he reached out, I don't know, like more than a year ago, I think, and then we started meeting again. But it's not like dating. It's just like I enjoy his company and apparently he enjoys mine. I mean, he invited me over there to visit his parents and everything. And he was very nice, so it's not against him. It's just that I managed to fall down the stairs the moment we entered the house, which was lovely. I had a big bruise, which I kind of enjoyed because it looks ridiculously big. But he was very attentive afterwards. Like if I said that, I can't really go up these stairs, he was like very accommodating. And like I'm trying to say that, it's not his fault. It's nobody's fault ever. It's just that I was kind of expecting him to take me to the airport by car, because we traveled by car to there and everything was, we went everywhere. And I don't know, I should have asked, but I've kind of assumed because it was an hour away and why not. But he was like, okay, here's the 2 buses you have to take and then you're gonna be at the airport. And for a normal person it's not a big deal, but I had a heavier luggage than I would have if I knew that I was not, if my issue isn't, or challenge isn't just gonna be getting up to the plane. If I have to take buses in a country that I never visited and never been, I would have packed lighter for sure, because I can't have my hands full. It doesn't give me the necessary safety that I need, especially if I'm alone. If I have someone that I trust, attack of the flies, that know about how I operate or how I can't operate, I don't have that much issue. But when I'm alone, it is an issue, and especially because I was walking a lot before, and because obviously we went to places I wanted to see a lot. And like I said, for a normal person, for a healthy one who doesn't have an issue like me, you just go to sleep and you wake up sore the next day and then you're ready to go. But I'm not like that. So when he said that, this is the bus you have to take, and he was not offering to take me, I felt bad because you could say that, why didn't you just explain it to him? He probably would have taken you. But that probably is the problem, because if he would have said no afterwards, I would have felt even more anxious, even more panicky. It would have been even more harder for me, so I couldn't say that. So I was just constantly talking to my sister, who is a Reiki master as well, because I'm that too now. Asking her to send me all the energy, you know, like Reiki, like use Reiki to, so I can find the buses easily and I can, you know, have enough physical strength to carry my bag and stuff like that. And it was very exhausting. I had to tell the lady who was checking the passports and plane tickets at the airport, after standing in fucking line for priority for an hour. If I knew we're not gonna move, I wouldn't have stood up and stood in front, like in the second place of the priority line, because I would have sat down and just rested. But they were calling us and I was like, okay, let's go, and then I will have time to, you know, like go up the plane. Everything is gonna be fine, because I was kind of okay by that time. You know, I was like, okay, I'm at the airport, I'm here, all I have to do is just get on the plane and then I'm good. But then I had to stand in line for almost an hour, so I lost all the strength that I managed to get back by resting. And I knew that I wasn't able to go down the stairs, that because we were on a platform and, you know, there were stairs to go down to go outside to the plane. So there was a lift, an elevator. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna tell the staff that, because there was a sign, you know, like ask the staff to use the elevator. And I was like, okay, please, you know, can I? And then the lady was like, okay, come back here, go outside where you came through the door and checked everything, you know, where they check your ticket and your passport, and then just sit down there and then wait. And I was watching everyone to go through, and, you know, like going down and boarding a plane. I was like, am I gonna miss my flight? What the fuck is gonna happen? And then they came in after everybody went through, and asked me if I'm gonna be able to make the flight, or if I, you know, need to stay. And I was like, I can't stay. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do if I miss the flight? Like, no. I was just like, I need help with my bag. And they were like, okay. And they were like, but, you know, our staff can only help you with the elevator afterwards. You know, it's not the airport anymore. They can't. I was like, cool. Just please help me. And then the help was operating the elevator for me and not helping with my bag. But I was like, okay, cool, I don't care. I just need to get on the fucking plane and go home, which I managed, fortunately. But I was like really in a bad shape. I was so exhausted and everything. And next day there was a concert that I really wanted to go. There was a theater play and a concert afterwards, which I was really looking forward to. It was a album launch party, and I had to say to my friends that I'm not staying because I'm not feeling like good enough. I can't stand that long. I'm not sure if I can go home, or, you know, and it sucked. And I had my period that day, of course, which I reminded me that, of course, I was extra weak, because lately before my period comes, I'm 1 week prior, I lose physical strength again, because I'm not in a good shape. Like, normally, not even that good enough shape. So that was like a really hard way of finishing the trip. But like I said, it's not his fault. It's just that I made myself a promise that I will never travel with people that I don't 100% able to trust with being honest about these things. And I need to feel secure that they know what happened and what that means. And that means only a few friends. And it's kind of funny how friends can understand that. Like, my university friends understand. They don't know what it means, because, you know, they don't know. One of them might, because she was there in situations where I had to ask for help, getting on and off of the like trams and stuff like that. But the others don't. But they are like, okay, cool, what can we do? And I don't get that approach from guys that I dated. Maybe I should really date a woman finally, but I don't know. I don't see that happening for some reason. But anyway, so I don't really have time anyway. And this just solidified in me that I would need someone who would understand these things, and it doesn't really seem like there's someone who can just come into my life and understand that. Because even if they have prior experience with something like that, it doesn't translate into being able to understand that this is still an issue for me. Even if I look okay, I'm not necessarily okay. I wish I was. Trust me, I wish, but it doesn't work like that. But anyway, okay, I'm probably already talking for half an hour now. I'm sorry, and this is just the second point, but I'm gonna be quicker now. So another reason why everything was harder in the past 2 months is that I got sick before the first 2 exams, and that, like, I was really sick for like 1 week, but I know that was only like a throat infection thing. But because I was really stressed out for the exams and I couldn't like rest and take days off because I had exams and I had to work, I probably managed to catch COVID afterwards, because I'm still sick. You can still hear it on my voice. I have a very nasally voice again, which I fucking hate because it reminds me of, when I was back then sick. But reason being, okay, nobody got it from me, which is like, thank God, even though, I was taking all the precaution I could, but I had to work and I had to study, so there was no time to rest. Which I kind of wish that I go back and just take a week off and just don't give a shit about anything, and just go to the doctors, get something, and just rest for a week, and maybe I would have healed by now. But I lost the sense of taste for, like, it's for 3 weeks, so I guess into for the 4th week when I was sick. When everything else was kind of clearing up, I lost my taste and I haven't got it back, and I'm really struggling with it, because food is something that makes me happy, and now I don't fucking enjoy anything because I only feel basic taste. I can taste that something is sweet, I can taste it that is salty, it's sour, or it's I don't even know if I can really taste anything else, but just these 3. But nothing else. Like, if I eat an ice cream, it's just sweet and cold. If I eat some like rice with chicken, I can taste the texture of the chicken and the texture of the rice, which is horrible without taste. And something, and very in salt, the amount of salt that I just slap on it so that it tastes something. So it's horrible. And I try to go to the doctors, but after like a few weeks, because I was still like recovering. But in our district, the doctors are not full-time, because they are just part-time covering for this area, this district, because we don't have a doctor, because our doctor died 2 years ago and they couldn't manage to find a new one. And when I reached out and I explained it in an email, all my symptoms and how shitty I still was, I still felt like I had fevers and stuff like that. They were like, okay, you can come between noon and 2, and I was like, I'm working till 4 p.m. in Budapest, in a different city. I cannot go, and I cannot take a day off that week because I was working alone. Everybody else was on vacation. It wasn't an option. But I was hoping that they would be like the other doctors and how they were during COVID, that they would at least prescribe you something. Nope. The email I got back was, this is the office hours. And I was like, cool. And I couldn't go. And then the next week I had 1 day off, because I took that off to study. So I sent another email, a follow-up email, and maybe it didn't show up because it was a follow-up, but you know what, it always highlights it as a new email, so I don't think it's a valid excuse. But I was like, okay, can I have an appointment on Friday? And then I never heard back from them, and I was like, you know what, fuck you. and I went back to try to do everything, you know, like home style or whatever. But it was not helping really. I mean, it helped, but not completely. So I managed to get an appointment for the afternoon after work. I had to leave early, but you know, still. To the, I don't know the name, that, you know, who deals with the nose, the ears, and the everything else. What was there? Okay, the throat things. And I got some drops and with antibiotics and everything, and that was supposed to clear things up in a week. Now I'm in 2 weeks and it got better, but it's still not cool. So I'm going to the doctor's on Wednesday, and surprise, surprise, when I'm on actually vacation, there was an appointment for 8:30. And I'm not sure if they ever even gonna do anything or be like, it's like 7 weeks now. Deal with it. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Never met these doctors. I have no idea how they are. But I'm not happy with the receptionist or assistant or whatever lady. But we will see. And that kind of, I guess, bleeds into the next point, is the not finding myself point. Maybe it's because I'm long-term sick for a while now, but you know, I went and I changed my hair color back to, supposed to be purple, but it was blue, but whatevs. Get a haircut. And not because I was trying to recreate, you know, a time that I was very happy to, and I was trying to go back. I was doing that because when I had those haircuts and hairstyles and hair colors, I really felt like myself, and that was I was looking for. But it was not working. I'm no longer the person, so I don't know what I want with my hair, with myself. I know I'm not happy with the way that I am currently, because it's not matching who I am. But the problem is I have no idea who I am. And not in a back to zero and starting over way, but in a, okay, I went through a lot, I closed the cycle for sure, and I started something, but I have no idea what I started and what it means, what's my purpose in life. And yeah, other people say you don't need that, but I do. I want to have that sense of, I don't even know how to say that, because if I say the sense of that I matter, it sounds very grandiose and egotistical again and narcissistic, but not in a way. But I want to find my place for my puzzle piece in the big tapestry of, you know, puzzles. Because if I can find that, then I know why I'm doing certain things, and I'm not just constantly like going blindly and trying to, you know, like using my just one sense to move forward, because I kind of feel like that. So it's very fun to be me again, not surprisingly. So I think it, you know, being sick, it just makes things worse, because I can't actually do a lot of things that I wanted to start, because I had plans after coming back from certain trips or whatever, after the exams. I had plans to do stuff and start things, but I only did one, which I will talk about later. So I'm in a hangman kind of position, and I really need that shift of point of view, because I don't know what I'm looking at, and I know that I'm not seeing clearly. So we will see what's gonna happen. Maybe next month is gonna, you know, I'm gonna get better finally, and things are gonna just change for the better. I'm gonna check if my phone is still recording, because I'm recording for too long. Just a sec. Okay, still, and it's just 35 minutes, so I'm not even that like bad. I'm at 4.4 now. So let's talk about the new cat. It's kind of funny, haha. Be careful what you wish for, kind of funny. Because when she showed up first in our house, I was like, oh, she looks so cute, and she reminded me of my old cat for sure. The face, the size, and everything. And I was like, oh, it would be nice to keep her. And then things happened, and I kind of had to keep her. But I realized that I'm not emotionally available for a cat. And maybe, not even for a relationship. So it's a good thing that I don't have any prospect right now. Because I'm not. I really am not. We're not. Okay, she's different than, my previous one. And usually she doesn't sit here and allows me to pet her. So this is just a trick. Because she's very afraid of everything, like if I move too suddenly, she runs away. So, she went through a lot. I'm assuming she was thrown out when she was really young. So I'm not faulting her. It's just that I kind of feel like I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for an emotional commitment with a cat. So what the fuck am I talking about relationship, right? At least I know. But I do have a cat now. And it kind of made me think about this whole, I'm not ready for anything emotionally, whatever. I kind of, and I wanted to make a separate video about it, but I'm a coward and I'm gonna just shove it here. So if some people watch it, some people know. Because it's a big topic, and I know it's something that we should talk about it more, but like I said, I'm a coward. I don't want to open that conversation, not right now, not when I'm still in the middle of it, because of my age and of my biology and the changes and stuff. Now I know I can't have my own kids, and I was okay with it for when I was young, I really wanted kids. Like I wanted to be like my parents. I wanted to have like 4 kids. When I was growing up, I was sure that I would be married by 21 and I will have 4 kids just like my mom had. It didn't happen. When I was 21, I was still fucking sick. And then I was, going back and forth about the topic. There were times that I still really wanted kids, and there were times that I was like, nah, not for me. But when my nephew was born, and it's his fault, I was like, oh fuck me, yeah, I would love to have that. And that was what pushed me towards getting out and dating, and the encouragement from tarot cards and everything. Because I was really hoping that, it can happen. I can find someone if I just start dating. I can find that person because I was ready. I worked on myself. And isn't that what you're supposed to do? Like, if you work on yourself, you're supposed to find love and everything. Doesn't work like that, which is kind of like a spiritual lie, I feel like. Everybody always just say that in videos if you watch. That once you work on yourself and you're ready for a relationship, it finds you. It's bullshit. For obvious reasons, there are people who find relationships that help them heal. And there are people who work on themselves, and I did, honestly, a lot. And I know that not right now, but before, I was ready. And then I didn't meet the right person, and time went by, and now it's too late. And what I wanted to talk about in a separate video was actually, how do you grieve someone that you never had? Oh, the cat is trying to catch a bug. Because I never had children. I never had the option to have that. So it's not like I was in a committed, beautifully supportive, loving relationship where we both wanted kids and it didn't happen. it's just life didn't happen that way. And yes, you could say that I should have started dating sooner, and then I shouldn't stop because, you know, I should have pushed through the pain and the heartbreak and everything, and then I would have had the chance. But who the fuck knows? And I wasn't ready. Honestly, I wasn't ready. By the time I was ready, it was just barely almost too late. And I was really, when I went out and started dating, I really believed it wholeheartedly that it's gonna happen, and it didn't. And you know, everything happens for a reason, so I was not supposed to be a mom in this life. But it kind of sucks, because how do you deal with that? Like, how do you deal with the pain and the grief? Because I need to grieve this, I need to let go of it so that I can move away from it. But I don't know how to do that. And you know, I look around in the tarot community, and there's a bunch of wonderful parents there and grandmas, and they all talk about all these wonderful experiences. And I know that I can still have a bunch with my nephew and, you know, with my cat. But it's not the same. And I know that not everybody wants kids as well, and I'm very happy for them, because you shouldn't have a kid if you don't want it. But what about us? And it reminds me of one of my great aunt, who was the same, exactly the same. Because, I mean, in a way that, you know, she couldn't have kids. She had a loving marriage and everything, but she couldn't have kids. And I know that she regarded my dad as her own. But still, so it's not the same. And yeah, I don't know. It comes up a lot, you know, when I'm just sitting and I think, or you know, when I just see families and stuff like that, and it comes up, and I don't know how to deal with it. I mean, of course, I said I need to sit down and ask the cards for help, but I don't have the space for that. I kind of feel like I really need my own space now, because there are just certain serious conversations that I need to do with myself, and I don't have the space, because it's very good to live with, you know, other people, because you can be very lonely. And it's not like if I close my, you know, room's door or the area where I live, anybody would come in, because they would assume that I'm making a video. I could do that, but it's not the same. I need more than just a half an hour or an hour to sit down. I wouldn't like to have a weekend, for example, just to do certain things in my own space, and then slowly bring up the question and sit with it, or walk with it, or do something and think about it. But I cannot do that, and I don't know. And you know, it's like complaining that I have a home. Of course not. I know a lot of people don't have this luxury. I feel it's my situation, and I need to deal with it, and I don't know how. Happy times. And it kind of leads into how my practice changed over this year, I guess. I'm still pulling the daily ones. I wanted to stop, because I for a while, for a week or so, I felt like I'm doing it just because I started, and I want to do that analysis at the end of the year that I did last year as well, you know, which card I pulled the most and everything. So I stopped for like 2 or 3 days, but then I was like, nah, I need it. And I read more for myself. And I started, you know, like doing readings on both of my channels now, and I switched, and I completely changed the second one, which was my reading channel. It's my Hungarian one, and it's very interesting, because I kind of feel like I need to do more readings in Hungarian now, which was something that I was very hesitant about. I didn't know if it would be a good idea or not to actually do stuff in Hungarian, because with the English one, you know, I have a like an accepting community, but I'm not. I'm just dipping my toe into the Hungarian, sphere. But I'm enjoying it. I don't know how useful it is, but maybe it's the hermit, the other end of the spectrum of the hermit. But I kind of feel like I really want to do these readings. I'm experimenting with them because I want to figure out how to and what to do, but it's important right now, for a while now, for a month or so, and it was very, very frustrating when I had to deal with the exams, and I was like, I want to start doing these readings, more so than, and I had to miss because I was sick and stuff like that. But I'm kind of feeling like it's coming back, that part of being a tarot reader when you want to read for other people, because it went away for like a year for sure, but it's coming back. But we will see, because everything changes. Okay, and that also means that I was interested in buying more decks. I didn't buy a deck for like a year, I think. Almost for a year, at least 8 months or something. And then I backed the Kickstarter. And then I bought a few mass market decks. While Wordery was still selling them, because they stopped selling it. Because it's, customs and everything is just too much, so they cannot afford to sell tarot decks, which is like, yay! So my only option to buy legitimate mass market decks is Libri Store right now. And I'm hoping that they're gonna, stay in market, because if they go away, I have no idea where I'm gonna get mass market decks that are not fake. We don't have an Amazon, there's no Amazon Hungary. I can order it from Germany, but the shipping is insane. And there's a lot of counterfeit, fake decks there, so I don't want to do that. So yeah, I don't know, it's hard. But I also bagged, like I said, I bagged one deck because I think it was Dawn Michelle, so it's her fault. I made a note, it was the Endless Tarot, because I kind of feel like I'm looking for my path forward, and when I looked at the deck, it's basically you're pulling the cards, and it's just like the roads you can take. And I was like, oh, this is something that I really need, so I backed that. And I think it was after the campaign already concluded, when the Oracle of Many Paths came around. I'm gonna sneeze. Still sick. And when I looked at that deck, I was like, this is even better. So I backed that, and that was who did I think it was Lisa Puppets. I think it was her fault, because she was talking about it in I saw her post. It's never my fault, it's always other people's fault. So I will have 2 decks, hopefully coming in soon. Okay, a few months, but I can wait. That deals with moving forward, finding your path, and I kind of feel like I'm not gonna find mine before these decks come in, but it fits my practice and the way that I read currently very, very well, both decks, so we will see. And I will have, first impressions at some point. I will start, this week I will have time to actually film a few, so you will see what decks I have. Okay, only 2 points left. One of them is Pride. I don't know if you heard about the Hungarian Pride this year. Maybe if you live in Europe. I'm not entirely sure if anybody talked about it in the US, because it's not good for people like Trump and that side of people. Because our Prime Minister pretty much he has a state of affairs, something like that, at the beginning of the year, And that there he pretty much like he literally said to the organizers of Pride to don't bother to organize it because you're not going to be able to hold it this year. And this was the 30th Pride this year, so it was like, the fuck are you talking about? We have the right to do that. Now they changed it. We don't have the right to do that. There's a new law that it doesn't specifically ban Pride, but it's a child protection law that allows them to just slap a banner on any organization, any protest, anything. If it's not safe for children, and you know, gay people, we're not safe for children, then they can just prohibit it. So it was an unlawful march yesterday, and it's ridiculous that we're not like we're still here. We're worse than we were like last year. But the funny thing is, last year I think there was like 20 to 30,000 people there. That's the usual number for a Pride in Budapest. This year, on the lowest estimation, is 200,000 people showed up, because a lot of people were like, you know what, it's not just about Pride, it's about our right to protest, and we will have elections next year, and we're kind of worried that the government is gonna just... Tita! She's biting me. Nincs csináld! Nem! Tita! Nem! She's the government. So the government is gonna, you know, ban voting or protest. The opposition wants to, you know, like organize and everything else. Like they can do that. So it was a beautiful, beautiful experience that so many people showed up. And if you haven't seen that, please check out the aerial footage, the pictures that there's so many people on one of the bridges. Like, it's beautiful. And yes, I still can get fined because I participated, and the government implemented the Chinese face recognition system this year. So, you know, I might get some, you know, like post on Facebook, like, please, if you can, like, help me fund my fine, because it can get a really high amount. But if I get fined, I will fight it every legal way, because fuck them, it was unlawful to stop the march. So, you know, I'm really, really hoping I'm really hoping that they cannot deal with that many people. I don't want anybody to get fined, but probably the organizers are gonna be, because I'm assuming the government and Orban, the prime minister, is thinking that as soon as the march was over, nobody will, you know, look at us anymore and they can do whatever. But I'm hoping it's not going to be the case, that the attention is going to be here when it's needed. But it was kind of interesting that even Greta Thunberg was here, and you know, if she shows up somewhere, you know that shit is real, and it's not good. So if you need an indication that it was important, she was here. But you know, it felt wonderful marching along people. And there was a guy who belongs to the neo-Nazi party that was trying to protest. That was ridiculous. They were like, I know mom said there were like 200-300 of them on one of the bridges, that they had the right actually to, you know, like claim and protest there, because their protest was completely fine and legal, ours wasn't. But it was ridiculous, like 200,000, 200. I love the, you know, the comparison. I didn't see them. I saw a few, like two, who had like a Bible and whatever, and that was just like, ridiculous. And the crowd was just walking past, and everyone was like taking a picture, like they were in the zoo. That was good. I know I shouldn't be pity about it, like, or gleeful, but I am, because fuck them. Honestly, fuck them. And then what did I wanted to say? Oh yeah, that one guy who belongs to the it's National it's neo-Nazi, but on paper it's just nationalist. And he was marching with pride, with the pride people, and he was interviewed, and they were asking like, what are you doing here? And he was like, I don't like this at all, but this is more about, like this, and the government can do whatever, and they can just say. And he was very intelligent. He saw that, the government can say that you can't, like the neo-Nazis, which I think should like be the default, but whatever. Because I think it should be on the bannable side of things. But he was like, they can say to our protest that it's not lawful, or the voting or whatever. And he was like, yeah, I'm getting a lot of like looks and everything, and I'm like but he was like, I respect that. He was there, he was marching for his own beliefs, which was at some point, like connecting with ours. And that's real democracy, I think. But the big amount, I don't know how, like a lot of them are not that smart, for sure. But yeah, it was a wonderful experience. A very tiring one, but a wonderful one. And I'm very, very proud of myself that I was there. And I pulled the 9 of cards, and if you follow me on Instagram, I posted about the card and the imagery of the card. That was so fitting, because that was my daily goal for yesterday. But yeah, please send positive thoughts and energy so that I don't get fined, because I don't want to pay a lot of money, and I don't want to deal with the legal hassle and everything. But it was worth it if it happened. And to finish on a positive note, I created a new deck. It's not available yet, because I'm waiting for my own copies to arrive, and I have to check if it's good. But if it's good, it's gonna be available. And if you saw the deck that I participated in, the Out of the Hermit Cave deck, if you haven't, there's a flip through on my channel, so you can just look at the cards and check the 5 of Wands with the birds and the green ink droppery background, because that was like, I never made a card like that. It's not my usual collage style, but I really liked it, so I expanded that one into a whole deck. And it's very like nerve-wracking, because with my previous ones, it didn't matter that I created the deck in RGB and the printer, like converted it to CYMK. I think that's the order, but not, the other printable color palette. It got muted, but with with the zombie deck it works. With other decks it's not a problem. With building relationships, it didn't lose a lot of color to be noticeable or to be annoying for me. But with this one, this is a very colorful deck. It's because I really wanted a colorful deck, so it has rainbows on the background, so it would have been perfect for Pride Month. But we're always queer. We're not just queer in June, so it's gonna be available later. But anyway, I'm just really happy with it. It just, honestly, it just flew out of me. It's a simple deck in a way that I picked pictures and I just slapped it on background and everything. But it looks, I don't think it looks simple in a bad way. It's minimalistic, but it's colorful, and I think it's very evocative. Big words for me. And I really believe in it. I have the same exact belief in it that I have with zombie and the building relationship, and I really want to push the building relationship more, because I think it's just a wonderful deck for relationship readings, and because it doesn't have any people in it, it has buildings. You can just use it with anybody. It's not you never have to worry if you hurt someone's feeling, because it's a man or it's a woman or it's a heterosexual couple on it or whatever. It's just buildings, so you can use it. So it's a wonderful deck. and that was the same experience with this one. So I'm very excited. Hopefully the prototypes or my copies are gonna, because I'm created a Hungarian version as well. I don't know if anybody, you know, want to buy it, but I have a Hungarian one if it comes in. But hopefully it's gonna be colorful enough and not in a stupid way, because it's very hard to change the color profiles and fix them, because Procreate only displays files in RGB profile. Doesn't matter if it's a CYMK. When I open it back, if I export it as a CYMK and I look at an outside viewer, I can see the muted colors. But once I import it back in, it looks RGB. So I can't modify the colors and see if they look good, because, you know, I can't see that. So I had to get Photoshop again, and I did the correction there, but I'm not sure if it's good or not, because now the exported files are oversaturated and overexposed and everything. So, you know, but I'm very, very excited for it. And if this version sucks, then I'm just gonna upload the muted one, because but I want it to be colorful, because it's colorful, and it, like I said, it has a rainbowy background, and it's a black, mostly black, like backdrop, and then the colors and everything. So and it's a 90 card deck. The actual cards are 80 something, because I have 2 lovers and I have 4 2 of cups, because I was trying to accommodate everything, and I have 2 King of Pentacles and 2 Queen of Pentacles, because there was an age variation there as well. So, but I love it. Okay, so yeah, I don't know, when it's gonna be available, but hopefully next week. That would be so cool. But yeah, this happened in the last few months. If you have any question, because if I talked to something about somewhere but I didn't expand on it, or if you just want to ask anything, please feel free to. Please subscribe to my channel, because it's fun. My channel is fun. I'm gonna be back to posting more deck reviews and stuff like that. I have a bunch of ideas, and I have long-term experience and reviews, and what do I call them, the 6 months in videos, which are not 6 months. It's for decks it's a few years now that I want to post and stuff like that. So yeah, hang around if you want. And I will be probably live stream as well, but I think I'm gonna shift it to the weekend, because weekdays are just very jumbly, so it's not gonna be it. But hopefully weekends are gonna be fine as well, so for you guys as well. But we will see. And see you next time. Bye.